Where did the abuse, like, with my mother and that, what we're saying? So, like, when we get there, my mother and my father, like I said, my father was the more physically abusive, my mother was the more mentally abusive. So, like, another thing that would be a common aspect of my mother's behaviour was she would... A lot of her issues came because my grandfather actually didn't love my mother. So it was like a passed on thing. He, like, I don't say he didn't love her, but he had a favourite child. She clearly wasn't the favourite child, which probably was no down to her own accord. It's just the way of life, innit? Some people have favourites, and unfortunately, you shouldn't have favourites with kids, but you do, or people do, unfortunately. So because of this, that would then get taken out on me. And one of the worst things that probably happened is when I was 11, my grandfather was actually in an accident, and he died outside the house. And he literally died. What happened was, like how events was, the football was on and she loved my guy. She was so, I would say, deludedly, dangerously in love with her father in a very unhealthy relationship kind of way. And I mean, like, she became very religious after he passed away, and she claimed that he sat on the throne next to God. And well, it's funny and people laugh when you're getting abused as a kid and someone's this fucked in the head. It starts to become like a bit mental, doesn't it? And yeah, one of the funny things was he dropped us home, and it was the day before Halloween, and Liverpool was playing on. So because Match of the Day was on, I asked if I could watch Liverpool, and he said, yeah, of course you can. So I stayed 20 minutes earlier, and obviously that led to us coming home 20 minutes later. So we stayed 20 minutes later, which led to us getting home 30-40 minutes later, which caused him to be in this road accident. Of course, every day for the rest of my life, I pretty much heard, you've killed your granddad, you've killed my dad died because you asked to watch football. So that is all I heard, getting screamed at from the day he died, ballistically in my face, to the funeral, was how I'd murdered her father. It was my fault. I deserved to die because I asked to watch the football that day. That led to his death. Now, obviously, as a kid, this really, really deeply bothered me and was something I actually genuinely believed. And obviously, as you get older, you look at stuff a bit more realistically, or at least I have, and you realise, well, hold on a minute, it'd be like a separate funny story, and this one is actually quite funny, is I told a girl before she should buy a scratch card, and she bought the scratch card and she won a vast amount of money. She won like 250 grand on them. Now, I could go, why did I not buy the scratch card? I let her go in front. It's just a way of life, isn't it? You know, I told her to buy a scratch card and she won 250 grand. That's a positive. I asked to watch the football, and obviously it delayed us, and he was in an accident. You know, it wasn't an intentional thing. It's not something, you know, I could open the door for someone and he could be running away because it's great. Someone down the street, you don't know what the situation is, trying to be polite. But yeah, so that was like one of the big issues I commonly got as a child.